Thanks for joining us, Shiloh Podcast. I'm Heather. This is Pam, and we're having awkward conversations on menopause today. So, Pam, why should we talk about menopause on a church podcast?
Well, it's one of those things that doesn't get talked about enough, and I just feel like it's helpful to have information, right? To know what to expect when that's coming. And so I have a lot of experience with this because I have a degree in nutrition from UT. My husband and I moved to Austin years ago to go to UT. And the reason I say it like that is because anyone can get a weekend certification in nutrition and call themselves a nutritionist. So anyway, I've been in the field for over 30 years, and then I personally went through this at a young age because I had some autoimmune disorders and I had premature ovulation failure. So I was actually in premenopause in my late 20s, and they didn't know it until I was about 33.
Oh my gosh.
And had to have surgery because I had diseased ovaries. So anyway, I've been going through this for 20 years personally. And
so you have
20
some
plus
experience.
Yeah. So a little bit of passion there to help people through the heartaches of things that I wish I knew.
Yeah. So I think it's valuable to even say this podcast is not just for women.
Yes.
We're going to include spouses and family in here too, because we need to know how to support each other when we're dealing with these things.
Yes, exactly. Because when a woman is going through a transition like that, there are a lot of things out of her control that she's not even aware of, maybe that are happen gradually or in spurts, and it can kind of be unexpected for everybody in the family, right? So to have more information to help support the person going through the transition is always a good thing.
That's good. Okay, so what are some physical signs, symptoms that would start showing up with menopause?
Great question. So a lot of times progesterone is the first hormone to dip. It's most of the time that's what happens. And so we start to see fluctuations because the ovaries are starting to kind of release hormones in spurts. So you can go months and feel fine, and then all of a sudden what is happening? And so some of the early signs are like heavy bleeding in your menstruation or erratic periods. Like you might have been like clockwork for a long time, and then all of a sudden you can't predict when it's coming. So those are signs. Also headaches. People start getting migraines or headaches that out of the blue, they never had this before. Acne, adult onset acne.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Get to do it again.
I had acne as an adult. I didn't really have it much as a teenager. It was way more as an adult than when I went through all these changes than I did as a teenager. But of course, sleep disturbances, irritability, and anxiety. Those are the main ones. So yeah, if you're feeling irritable, you're feeling touchy, like everything kind of sets you off, that can be a sign. Some people don't go so far as to associate it with anxiety, but that's literally what it is. It can be the beginning stages of this decrease in progesterone. And so progesterone is the hormone in pregnancy that shoots through the roof. And that's why they say we get the glow as pregnant ladies, because it's the happy hormone.
Nice.
It helps us sleep. It helps us to get into deep REM sleep.
Got it.
And it helps us stay sane so that we are not biting everybody's heads off.
And that's the one that starts dipping first.
Yes.
Got it.
So it's really important because it's just a simple solution. And we'll talk about the solutions later. But right now, I just wanted to kind of cover some of the signs of what's happening first and how to regulate that. So progesterone can go a long way to help regulate your cycle, help you get deep sleep, help you feel more calm, and help prevent acne, all those little things that can later be big things.
No. Yeah. Is there a specific age range, or not specific, because I mean, obviously everybody's different, but is there a typical age when some of these symptoms are more likely to start?
Great question. It normally starts in your 40s, or some people wait even into their 50s. But in our society, because of the changes in chemicals and plastics that we consume, and because of like autoimmune disorders and different things, it can start literally in your teens. Like you can have a hormone imbalance. It's called estrogen dominance. In our society, we eat plastic all the time. Everything comes in plastic just about. We microwave plastic. We drink out of styrofoam or plastic cups. Like I mean, you put leftovers in a baggie or saran wrap. So anyway, even though we try not to consume as much, we are consuming plastic, and our body recognizes plastic as estrogen.
Oh,
so it can lead to estrogen dominance, which has the reciprocal effect of lowering progesterone. So a sign early in teen years, early 20s is having a frequent cycle. So you're having your periods too frequently. And a lot of parents will take their kid to the doctor and they'll put them on the pill, which is both estrogen and progesterone. And it can solve the problem, but it's not necessary to have the estrogen. And plus, it's a man-made product, not a bioidentical product. And so we want to stick with what's natural.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah. So some of the later signs as this progresses, and it can, like more normally, it's like, it can be from like a couple years to 10 years of fluctuating as your ovaries are going through different changes and before you actually stop having your cycle, which is how you define menopause.
Okay.
So you can go months without having it and go, okay, I'm menopause. And then this is how sometimes pregnancy happens later in life because people think that they're done and they're not done. No. So you have to be careful with that as you're planning. But hot flashes, discomfort in sex, vaginal dryness is a big deal, and it's hormone related. It's easy fix.
Okay.
Being extra emotional, like crying at the drop of a hat, saying things like, I don't know why I'm crying. This doesn't make sense in my mind.
I remember that in pregnancy, but more to look forward to.
Exactly. And then even as it can be as severe as depression, where you're really like, I feel depressed. I've never felt this way in my life. I don't know what's happening. So all these things, there's solutions for that we can help with. And we'll talk more about all these solutions quickly. But so some of the emotional ones that are tied into that, or the things that are happening on the inside, not just physically, but there's a lot of times can lead to depression is just feeling fat because of the weight gain, feeling old. You can notice changes in your skin dryness, which leads to like more wrinkles. You have dry patches, you have oily patches, you may just look in the mirror and you just look tired and you feel tired and you just feel really frustrated. Like, what happened to me?
Right.
So emotionally, it can take a toll as well.
Okay.
And that's when it's really important to involve your family with, hey, this is what's going on, especially your spouse, and let them know, like, I might need some extra encouragement. I'm struggling.
Okay. So I actually... someone mentioned this and I was like, okay, this makes so much sense. The age range where we're starting to go through peri and menopause is very commonly the same age where our kids are starting to go through teen hormones. And even sometimes our parents are starting to go through their medical stuff of just becoming elderly and if they're needing extra care. And so we've got these extra stresses going on, and then we're dealing with our own. It's like,
yes,
I feel like a psycho.
Yes, that's not a lot, right? Yeah. I know it does parallel a lot of times. You have a woman that's in her mid 40s or early 50s, and she has a 16, 18-year-old, and daughter's emotional, mom's emotional. They're kind of playing off of each other. It's really important to talk about this in your family. Like, hey, with your teenagers, explain to them the hormone cycles and why. Like, even if it's a boy, sometimes they can just start being super aggressive or getting into trouble at school. And so it's important to talk to your kids about hormones and the changes that are happening inside you. And it's not like a stamp of approval for bad behavior. It's to understand, like,
it's not my own stamp of for bad behavior. Can't valid or justify this.
Yes. So we do have to take measures to help regulate these things, and some of it's spiritual, some of it's emotional, and some of it's physical, and actually treating the physical symptoms.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
What do we do about it?
Yeah. Good question.
Just get over
Another
it.
Great question. These, there are many things that we can do. So, of course, everybody always says diet and exercise, because honestly, the thing that gets women's attention the most is the extra pounds, like feeling so frustrated, like you can't lose weight the way you used to.
Added visceral fat. Like,
yes, exactly. The visceral fat is the fat around the belly. It's the fat around the organs. It's the fat that is the bad fat that causes increased probability of heart disease and diabetes and high blood pressure. So, of course, putting on those pounds and then not being able to get rid of it like you used to. You used to be able to hit the gym, cut back on some calories, stop eating dessert, whatever your go-to was,
and you
it
start
isn't
dropping.
working.
But no, not anymore.
And then you're watching your husband go, I need to lose a few pounds. And 5 minutes later, he's dropped it. And you're over here a year later, still like.
I looked at a donut and gained 5 pounds.
Yeah,
Great.
exactly. So that is a really important question because men lose weight different than women.
Yep.
Men have a lot more muscle. And so it's easier for them to convert stored fat to calories.
Got it.
So when we say calories, your body actually takes fat and converts that into energy called calories.
Okay.
So theoretically, when you're losing weight, you're supposed to be able to sustain yourself off of the fat that you're burning. Okay. Because that you shouldn't be starving. The first 2 or 3 days are always the hardest. But after that, you should be able, with eating a good, healthy, well-balanced diet, you should be able to sustain off of those calories. But with women, a lot of times that doesn't work, especially with, like I was saying before, the things in our society, the problems that are resisting that change. So women, especially getting close to menopause, perimenopause, will have harder time converting fat to energy, stored fat to energy.
Okay.
And so there are some things that will help. So keto, I want to talk about that for a second. Keto works great for men. It doesn't always work so great for women. Or if it does, it is temporary because women actually need carbs. So you can't cut all carbs. You can, and some people have success at it. I don't recommend it because at this part of your life, you're needing a little bit of carbs. So yes, you need to cut out the sugar.
And I've also read how we actually get some doses of happy hormones when we're eating healthy carbs, things that our body likes. Exactly. And so it makes us happier. So we're actually able to manage the other stuff better.
Exactly. So eating a well-balanced, a well-balanced, healthy carb diet, including healthy carbs, can help level out some of this. So that's why it's really important to make sure you're getting healthy carbs like beans and vegetables that have carbs like carrots. And then, just making sure that you're not eating a lot of processed food, of course. So I don't want to go too deep dive into diet, but I just want to give some heads up on some things that are trends that aren't necessarily helpful for women at this stage of life.
Thank you.
And the second one is fasting. Intermittent fasting is real important, is really prominent, and it is good and it's important in our diet. But the one caveat is, especially women, men can get away with it more, but you shouldn't intermittent fast in the morning. And the reason why is you produce lots of cortisol until you take your first bite of food in the morning. And cortisol is going to make your body continue to hold on to that stored fat and not burn it as calories.
That's hard because most we tend to want to fast the most right after dinner to somewhere between breakfast and lunch. And
I agree. A lot of people find it harder to do the reverse. So if you're going to intermittent fast, you need to eat your dinner early, figure out what time of day based on your sleep cycle and what window you're intermittent fasting for.
Normal breakfast.
Yes. But as soon as you eat that first bite, you're telling your body, okay, stop producing cortisol. And also, if you can wait to have coffee for 1 hour after you wake up, it's helpful in this process too.
Why are you being mean to me?
I know, right? Sorry. I know these are the horrible, horrible things that we all just need to know though. But so one thing I started doing recently is I have bone broth first thing in the morning.
Okay.
So I want something hot. I'm a old school. My kids love the iced coffees. I do too in the summer, but in the summer, I want a hot drink in the morning. It's comforting to me. So I have my hot cup of bone broth, and it has 10 grams of protein in it, and it's low calorie, and it has collagen. It has lots of healthy things. So I sip on that until my hour is passed, and then I have my coffee.
So what does the caffeine do with the cortisol that makes it a problem?
It's a stimulant. And so it's having the reverse effect on your cortisol level that you want to have.
It stimulates it rather than cuts it off.
Yeah.
Got it.
So we need to eat a healthy breakfast. And it doesn't have to be a big, huge, you don't have to cook breakfast every morning. You can have some fruit and nuts and cheese. You can have some easy go-tos. Even protein shakes and protein bars, even though they're processed, they're not necessarily my favorite, but they are better than not having anything.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
Okay.
So as far as that, as dieting, one other little thing you got to remember, unfortunately, a little hateful bit of trivia, is that we burn 100 less calories for every decade after 30. So by the time we're 50, we're burning 200 less calories than we did in our 30s.
Good grief.
So it truly is a battle of the bulge. And you just got to get that in your mind. Like, we have to make adjustments each decade. We need to be more active instead of less active and sedentary. So I always talk to my clients about try exploring something new, like dance lessons or horseback riding or joining a walking group, whereas maybe in the past you just walk by yourself. Like, try something different.
Friends.
Yes.
Okay.
And just to try to keep increasing our activity level. So it's huge as far as not just with calorie burning, but also the movement of our joints and helping prevent like arthritis and stiffness and muscle aches and that kind of thing. So we got to move. We got to keep moving.
I heard joint pain is a fun symptom of menopause.
Yeah, that's another one. It's like, brutal. But again, there are solutions, and people get through power through this with a lot of success by doing a couple of key things. So eating a healthy diet, moving, exercising, doing those things. There are some over-the-counter items that I want to talk about. So back to the first signs that were related to progesterone, there's a couple of supplements. This is ZMA.
Okay. What does that stand for?
Zinc and magnesium. And the A is the form of magnesium that it's in.
Got it. So there's a bunch of types.
Yes. There's a confusion sometimes because it's not aspartame. The word sounds a little bit like aspartame. It's zinc, magnesium, aspartate. So the magnesium aspartate is the form of magnesium that's in this. Okay. And you'll see on here, this is Now brand. I recommend this brand. Be careful what you buy on Amazon or on the internet because a lot of cheap supplements from other countries can have fillers like plastics and poisons and stuff you don't want in your body. So make sure you get a reputable brand and you do your research. But Now brand is one I like. It's fairly cheap. It's like $20 for 180 capsules. You take 2 a night. Your husband takes 3 a night. And ZMA is a wonderful product. This is the first thing I put all of my clients on. Everyone in my family's on it. It's amazing. So what it does is ZMA helps break down cholesterol. So as we get older, our cholesterol tends to go higher and our sex hormones tend to go lower. Why? Because cholesterol is the building block of all the sex hormones. And when you sleep and get into deep REM sleep, that's when cholesterol breaks down, and it's a cascading effect. So it breaks down into these little parts and pieces that break down into more little parts and pieces that break down into more little parts and pieces. So we break down cholesterol and we get our sex hormones. So, but you have to be in deep REM sleep. And that's why sports and athletes love this product because that's also when you build muscle. You can't build muscle. You can tear down muscle at the gym, but you can't build muscle at the gym. You have to get into deep REM sleep to build muscle. And so you'll see this marketed for sports recovery is what they call it. But I love it for how it affects our sleep and how it affects our hormones and cholesterol. So
good to know.
ZMA, huge for everybody at any age. I will tell you this, backing up. My husband has been on this for like 20 years. Everyone in his family is on statins except him. When his cholesterol, statins are prescribed medicine for cholesterol.
Got it.
They have lots of side effects too that aren't so fun. So he got on this instead, and he has maintained his cholesterol ever since. Yes. So, and it also helps testosterone for men who are also going through an age where things are starting to change. It will help raise testosterone. And women need testosterone too, by the way. It does. We need a little bit, and this can really help with that fat burning process and building muscle. So we need to build muscle too. And the more muscle we build, we are going to be able to convert more, fat to energy.
Got it.
Dimpro is another one.
Dimpro?
DIMPRO.
Okay.
Dim is a long word that is basically the ingredient. It stands for the ingredient that is in cruciferous vegetables.
Broccoli?
Like broccoli, cauliflower, kale, all those good ones that have sulfur in it. And that's why they smell weird. That's why you
taste good, but smells like
a lot of kids turn their nose up because of the bitterness from the sulfur, but that's actually the good thing that we want. And anyway, so this helps regulate hormones also. And even taking the smallest dose, whether you're a man or a woman, can help prevent all kinds of sex hormone related cancers. So whether it's men and it's prostate cancer, or it's women and it's cervical, uterine, ovarian, or breast cancer, it helps with all of those. So even the lowest dose can help with that, but higher doses help with our appetite because it's helping control those hormones. And then the last one, over the counter for women, if you're early on in the process, you can use Progest by Immersia. And I recommend this brand because there's some weird products out there that are made from plants that claim to be as good, and they aren't necessarily. So if you do a deep dive into this, make sure you do your homework and you research well, and you're not buying some scam.
What is it?
This is a form of progesterone. So it's a cream. You'll see, you can open it up. They're little capsules, pop it open, and you just rub it like on your wrists or all the way up to your elbows. Wherever you see the blue veins, it's absorbed through your blood vessels, and it bypasses your digestive system. So it's absorbed.
It's not killed off as easy.
Yeah. Exactly. So you can take the pill. Of course, you have to go to the doctor for that. At this point, I'm on the pill for progesterone, a bioidentical, because I need such a large dose. I'd be rubbing all day because I'm full-blown menopause. So, but there is a portion of it that you lose through your digestive process. It's not as absorbed as well. So you can rub it on your inner thighs, even your neck, anywhere you can see the blue blood vessels. That's where it's going to be absorbed the best.
Good to know.
Yeah. So those are over-the-counter things, but you definitely need to see a doctor and get some blood work, get their opinion on things as things progress. So these are a few things that might help in the beginning, in the early stages. Progesterone can definitely help with the regulating your cycle, so that you have more consistent cycle and you're not having the heavy bleeding that's really common, and a lot of women are like, oh my gosh.
And is that just the estrogen cream, or is that progesterone? Or?
This is progesterone.
Got it.
That's going to help regulate your cycle.
It
even, there are some teenagers and 20-somethings and 30-somethings that benefit from progesterone because, like I said, we have an imbalance in our world today where plastics cause we call it estrogen dominance. And so even if no matter what age you are, you can talk to your doctor about it, but it can really help regulate anyone's cycle. And a lot of times teens go through this until they're like 22 and things tend to level off. But parents will, need to talk to the doctor and figure that out, but it can be helpful. And then
why would I go to the doctor if I can do these at-home things?
Well, it's helpful to have blood work, even though sometimes we were talking about earlier, it's kind of like a selfie. You don't always look like that. So when you get blood work, it's like a snapshot of that instant, and everything's changing wildly. And so blood work, depending on the doctor you see, can be a useful tool, even though it's not the be-all, end-all. And I'm a prime example of that because I was gaining weight like crazy in my 30s, where they realized what was going on. And I had undiagnosed thyroid condition. I knew it was my thyroid because of my training. I went to all the top endocrinologists in Austin, and they all said my blood work was normal. I didn't need thyroid medication. So I kept trying. It took me several years to find a doctor back then who would treat me based on my symptoms. And so I was able to get on thyroid medication and get leveled off. Because what happens is you have two hormones, T3 and TH3 and TH4, and one doesn't convert to the other. So then they only measured for one, and they didn't measure for the other. So it caused complications. Now they have a test, an antibody test. They can tell if your body's killing your thyroid. So then if your antibodies are high, then they'll treat you. Whereas 20 years ago, I had to go on symptoms.
Okay.
So all that to say, it can be really helpful to have some information, but it can also, sometimes you have to fire a few doctors before you get the right one. And I recommend finding one that does functional medicine because they integrate functional and regular medicine so that you can get the best of both worlds, because you definitely want bioidentical. Bioidentical means exactly what it says. It's biologically exactly like what's in your own body.
Okay.
Drug companies make billions of dollars off of modifying the hormone because, like a vitamin, the drug companies cannot overcharge for a bioidentical hormone. Anything that's in your own body, there's a cap on how much extra they can charge for that.
Interesting.
So if they modify it slightly, then they can charge whatever they want, and their insurance company or whatever, or if you don't have insurance company, you're just paying out the wazoo.
So it's like a funny little copyright situation.
Yes. And that's exactly what leads to the sexual hormone related cancers is the human man-made, the modified versions that they studied years ago that were causing all kinds of problems. And so a lot of women are scared of hormones because of this. And bioidenticals are exact opposite. They can actually help you live longer and prevent diseases.
Nice.
So so make sure you talk to your doctor about that when it comes time, because once you need estrogen for the hot flashes and a lot of the weight gain issues, estrogen is a major role player in weight gain when it starts to go down. The sexual dryness, the vaginal dryness, the discomfort in sex, depression, all those things you need to see a doctor specifically at that point.
Sure.
And estrogen, bioidentical estrogen will help with a lot of those things. So you don't have to be miserable. Okay. Yeah. It's a wonderful thing. Yes.
Well, okay. So we went through like what it is, why we're talking about this, what I can do at home, and then when I need to see a doctor. What do we tell our sweet spouses that are looking at us going like, oh, is this the woman I married?
Yes. You need to just have dialogues about this, and some things that spouses can do. You're going to have to realize that you're going to need to be the support person emotionally and be encouraging and try to redirect if someone's irritable or cranky or tired. Fatigue is another big part of these changes too. So as far as us as women, we need to remember that we're going through this, but our family is too. We need to be sympathetic to our caregivers and our support givers and love on them too, and make sure that they're feeling like their needs are getting met. So the worst thing you can do is stop having sex. You still need to have intimacy. Have sex. Still need to have intimacy. So here's some things.
With your spouse.
Yes. Here's some things that can help with that. One of them, one big one that I find with women is that they don't feel sexy because they're fat.
Yep.
And I promise you, your husband doesn't care if you put on the extra 5, 10, 15, even more. It doesn't matter to him.
Okay.
It's us. We're the ones who care, right? So he thinks you're beautiful. If you need to talk to your husband, or if their husband's watching, just remind her of that. Like, I love you. You're beautiful. And it may just be something she needs to hear more often during this time in life. And it may feel like, oh, she's so needy. Well, maybe she is a little more needy than she used to be, but our
tank needs to get filled.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So physically you can use, estrogen will help, but sometimes you need like, vaginal estrogen, which is a cream that helps with vaginal dryness. And then also lubricant. You can ask your husband to help research this, like involve him in the process, put his skills to work. Like things are changing for us and maybe for him too. So that's a whole nother topic. But anyway, as far as, as women, you still need to remember you are beautiful, you are sexy, buy the lingerie.
And sex is helpful.
It is, you still need to work on intimacy in your relationship. Sure. You can't just like abandon that part of your life because you aren't comfortable physically, you aren't comfortable in your own skin, or we got to push past those things. We can encourage each other, talk to your girlfriends, even talk to Heather. She's a therapist. She can help you with kind of working through some of that too. I'm not trying to make light of it.
Oh, no.
Because these are heavy topics, and sometimes you do need to have conversation with someone that's trained to kind of get back on track.
Well, and I know like fulfilling sex if we get all the happy hormones like oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine, like even adrenaline. Sometimes like we get a dose of all of those things whenever we have fulfilling sex.
Yes.
So, I mean, I know we should, but like with this change in life, like what is that? Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
So
And just a funny story. I watched a reel with Steve Harvey, and he was saying to this lady had asked a question. I don't remember what the question was, but he was like, I just want to tell all you ladies, no matter how much weight you've gained or how you think you look, you are all beautiful. He looked around, every single one of you is beautiful. And he goes, you just go to Victoria's Secret and everybody buys extra small. And I just started laughing because he said, I don't care if it cuts into you. I don't care if it disappears. And I was just laughing. It kind of just made it funny that the difference between men and women, right? That women are like, I want to cover up and hide. And men are like, no, I want to see.
Right.
And it doesn't matter how much weight you gain. He still wants to see you.
Sure.
And it's part of that intimacy bond that is really important. So don't turn off all the lights and hide and run and jump under the covers. We just have to kind of push past what our ideal of this supermodel image that we have in our head that we never did live up to anyway, and now it's even harder.
Yeah.
And we have to deal with the real implications of the world we live in and the images that we're shown daily that we compare ourselves to.
Yeah, the ideal has to change.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
it's so not about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's so much more about us and what we bring to intimacy, both emotionally and physically, than how we look.
Yeah.
And that's that's real. And it can't be overstated enough. And I know my girlfriends and we talk about it. I'm like, oh, does my makeup look weird? Does this look, is my nose crooked? Like, and we joke and laugh and like, nobody notices what you're noticing. Like,
right.
Stop being a freak about it.
No, we're our own worst critic. So.
Yes. And even looking back at pictures, I sometimes like cringe when I had put on extra weight, and I'm like, you know what? That's part of my life journey. And I was beautiful then, I'm beautiful now. Nobody else looks at my pictures and goes, oh my gosh, look how fat she,
right.
You know, I hate that we carry this around, but it's part of our society that we just really need to talk about and deal with.
Yeah.
That body image is can be a real, problem when it comes to like even just depression. Like it can send you into a depression if you focus and fixate on the wrong things. So focus and fixate on what is good and noble and of good reputation. That's what Philippians 4:6.
That's good.
Remember those things, dwell on those things. So I was just looking down at my notes. Husbands, yes, be encouraging. Tell her she's beautiful. Remind her how much you love her, how important she is. Remind her of the things that make her wonderful so that she can stop like just worrying about how she feels and how she looks.
Yeah.
And so she can be reminded. That's really helpful a lot sometimes to get us out of our head because we're overthinking things, stuck in patterns.
Yeah, when our loved ones are having a hard time, I know a lot of times we're like, well, I'm not really sure what to do with you. So we kind of want to push off and like I'm gonna let you deal, and then we'll kind of stand back here and stay safe. But that's honestly probably the worst things we can do for our loved ones, whether your kid's having a flip out or your spouse is having a hard time. Yeah, try to pull in, lean close, and work on the connection, even if you can't fix the initial issue. Like,
yes, that's so good. Yes, that I think you're right about that. It's easy for us to pull away when things it's a kind of a coping thing.
Yeah. Well, we want to survive, and if someone else is being scary, that's like, we need to run. But
well, just remember that. Also, this one last thing: if fatigue is an issue for having either emotional or physical intimacy with your spouse, or even having emotionally intimate conversations with your children or your friends, that you may need to plan certain conversations and certain intimacy times around when you feel best. So even just being a little thoughtful about, hey, I am really, really dead tired at night with these hormone changes and the kids and work and the house chores.
Worn out by the end of the day.
And so maybe nighttime is not going to be the best time. Maybe Saturday morning's a good time.
Yeah.
So anyway, same with the conversations with your kids. Try not to have a conversation when you're at your worst moment.
Right.
It's like it's bedtime and you're over here losing it. You know, maybe it's just like, okay, let's talk about this in the morning. So just a few practical tips to try to help out, because I've been there And I know you're not there yet. You're too young. So, but it's helpful to know in advance what things are helpful, and we can just be prepared for it. And like we said at the beginning, it's not something that's talked about in church very often.
Right. Well, I know like once I hit my 40s, I was like, okay, I'm recognizing some body changes. Like these things are not working the same way they used to. And like, weight loss is different. Sleep is different. Just the way my body's recovered, even just from the consecutive pregnancies, like it's very different. So it's nice to know that, hey, these things are coming, and it's not, even though it may be different, doesn't have to be weird, and kind of have some direction on how I can work on it.
Yes, absolutely. So I think basically what we've summed up is there are things we can do emotionally to prepare, and that at the end of the day, just remember that all of the physical symptoms can be dealt with bioidentical hormones and some supplements. Yeah.
Nice. Thank you so much.
Yes,
well,
absolutely.
We needed to hear this. So bless you guys. We'll list the products in the comments, and good luck and bless you, and just rebuke fear with all of these new changes.